had picked him out as the leader, the British to support. Now his descendants are now the kings of Jordan. They originally also became, British gave them the part of the mandate they cut out of the Palestine mandate and made the country of Jordan out of it and gave it to the descendants of the Sheriff of Mecca for services rendered in the First World War. Gave 2/3 of the mandate away. And as I've told you previously, the mandate as it was ordained after the First World War, there was enough room to solve the Arab-Jewish problem. There's not enough room to solve the Arab-Jewish problem when you cut 2/3 of the mandate away and give it to a noble family, even though they're decent, for services they did to the British monarchy. The British also put the other person as king of Syria. The French threw him out because they didn't want him in there. They wanted Syria and Lebanon as a French zone of influence. So the British took him and put him in Iraq. And he became King Faisal of Iraq. The British were in control of Iraq because they needed Iraq because the planes couldn't get to India. They needed a base to land the planes on the way to India. And they had to refuel in Iraq. They put this Faisal in. He survived as king of Iraq for a while, and then his children were massacred in the next generation when the uprisings occurred in the 1950s that brought the Baathists, the Saddam party, into power. You can study all that. They were all killed. In any case, this is a whole horrendous story, obviously. With Faisal, understood our aims, we were able to reach an agreement. You see, they could have been. In 1919, 1920, there were other Arabs as well as Faisal with whom we could negotiate. And the Jordanian government is still pretty friendly to Israel, but doesn't want to undermine itself. It wants to keep the Palestinians in Palestine. Jordan shouldn't be considered part of the, shouldn't be considered the Palestine state, but in fact, it is the Palestine state. It should be the Palestine state. And the area in between should be sort of maybe some sort of extraterritorial situation. But now they want 2 Arab states from the Palestine mandate, not one. And the world is prepared to do that. So the Jews are looked upon as recalcitrant, difficult. See, Faisal was with Lawrence and would have been willing to do that. If you haven't seen Lawrence of Arabia, you should look at it. Anyway, in 1936, it very nearly relinquished even that attempt. The Arab extremists saw their chance, press on, and the English would give in. And the psychology in place was the muftis. I probably have to stop in a minute, but let me just show you here up to where Weizmann breaks down and starts to cry. This is a breach, 585 at the top of the promises made to us in our solemn hour to stop Jewish immigration and so on, which is what they're considering because of Arab pressure. In the 1930s, there was an uprising in Palestine led by the mufti. I, for 20 years, have made it my life work to explain the Jewish people to the British and the British people to the Jews. I say to you, we have so often girded at me and attacked me just because I have taken that task upon myself. I say to the mandatory power, you shall not outrage the Jewish nation. You shall not play fast and loose with the Jewish people. Say to us frankly, the national home is closed, and we shall know where we stand. But this trifling with a nation bleeding for 1,000 wounds must not be done by the British, whose empire is built on moral principles. That mighty empire must not commit this sin against the people of the book. Tell us the truth. This at least we have deserved. Here Weizmann breaks down and weeps, and then continued after a pause. No, that's not possible. You can't weep in front of the British government. Can you imagine Herzl weeping when he gave his testimony or something at such a commission? Is this man going to get anything from them? Of course not. And that's what they do. They close off immigration to Palestine. Okay, my friends. Next time we'll finish this up and we'll read Jabotinsky and we'll hear the other side of the coin. This is quite an interesting subject, don't you think? But it's no good just modern Jewish thought. You have to throw the Zionism in. Anyone who cuts the Zionism out of the class is just not doing justice to the situation of the Jewish people in the 21st century.
Like Goldberg.
Huh?
Like Goldberg.
No, I didn't say anything, and I don't want to be quoted. I don't say anything. I've never said such a thing. I'm not.